because every individual wants, what do they want? They want to secure their buying power, if you want to save. Now, if you put it in Bitcoin, it goes like this.
Okay, American billionaire Ray Dalio just went on CNBC for an interview and said some pretty outrageous. He gave an updated take on his view on Bitcoin. Let me share with you this clip. But first, I do just have to say that I have huge respect for Ray Dalio in general. He is an incredibly successful businessman with a proven track record, and he was a hedge fund manager who served as the co-chief investment officer of the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates, since 1985 till last year, with over $19.1 billion in personal net worth. So when Ray Dalio talks, smart investors usually listen, which is why I found this calypso interesting. Andrew Ross Sorkin simply asks for his updated thoughts on crypto.
Curious, crypto curious.
Okay.
Has anything changed for you in that?
Yeah, just to everybody, let me state what I believe about crypto with Bitcoin.
And I hate to stop, but this will be the last stop. But just for some context, it was back in late 2020 that Ray Dalio came out in support of Bitcoin specifically. And this was huge news. He had changed his mind in the reasons that he gave. That Bitcoin has clearly proven itself. It undeniably has value. And while it's by no means a sure thing, it has many of the same properties as a digital gold.
Influence changes in my view. It has proven itself. And has been used and is now has obtained, the status of having imputed value. At the same time, it is one of those assets that is an alternative money. I think we're entering an era where there's going to be a competition of monies because of the printing of fiat money. And the depreciated value. There will be a competition of monies, and Bitcoin is part of that competition. But the money has two purposes: a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth. And we are looking for, and it's portable, and it's best if it's recognized in other countries. So gold is one of those. So I look at it as an alternative gold.
So back in 2020, you could clearly articulate it's like a digital gold. Let's cut to today. Ray Dalio giving his updated take on cryptocurrency, and please just understand that he does in his answer reference CBDCs, specifically China's or renminbi. A yuan is a unit of a renminbi. So those two words, you want yuan or renminbi, can be used interchangeably.
Crypto curious.
Okay.
Has anything changed for you in that?
Yeah, just to everybody, let me state what I believe about crypto with Bitcoin, and what I've pretty much always been. I think it's been quite amazing that for 12 years it's accomplished this, but I think it has no relation to anything. Okay, in other words, it moves, it has no relation. It's a tiny thing that gets a disproportionate attention. The value of Bitcoin is less than a third of the value of Microsoft stock. You could go into industries, biotech and many other industries are more interesting than Bitcoin. It's not going to be an effective money. It's not an effective storehold of wealth. It's not an effective medium of exchange. But we are in a world in which money as we know it is in jeopardy, right? We are printing too much, and it's not just the United States, all the reserve currencies, what's going on in Euroland, what's going on in yen. And so in that world, the question is, what is money and how's that going to operate? So when we look at something like China's renminbi, and then you take the digital renminbi, I think you're going to see that become more and more a thing. So when things start to open up in an evolutionary way, people are going to start to say, where is my safe storehold of wealth? And as you have China denominate more of its trade in renminbi, then naturally those who are going to hold renminbi, if Saudi Arabia sells oil in renminbi and then buys things from China in renminbi, when they get it, they're going to hold more renminbi. It's going to be a higher percentage of their. And so I think the question over the next number of years is really, what is money, not just as a medium of exchange, but a storehold of wealth?
That sounds like an argument for Bitcoin of sorts.
Bitcoin, or for some digital
Bitcoins?
Okay, so thus far not that outrageous. It's what comes next, and you'll notice Andrew Ross Sorkin, the other hosts say. Sounds like you're describing Bitcoin to prevent inflation, to prevent monetary debasement from governments. Yet Ray Dalio said about 30 seconds before that.
Biotech and many other industries are more interesting than Bitcoin. It's not going to be an effective money. It's not an effective storeholder wealth. It's not an effective medium of exchange.
Here's the final part of this interview. What is Ray Dalio's solution if not Bitcoin for average people to preserve their purchasing power?
That sounds like an argument for Bitcoin of sorts.
Bitcoin, or for some
Of
digital
Bitcoins?
Yeah.
No,
Maybe.
I think if you want
currency.
a digital currency, you have to deal something different. I don't think that the stable coins are good because then you're getting a fiat currency again. I think that what would be best is an inflation-linked coin.
Right.
In other words, something where basically you would say, okay, this is going to give me buying power, because every individual wants. What do they want? They want to secure their buying power. If you want to save. Now, if you put it in Bitcoin, it goes like this. Who knows what happens?
Right.
If you put it into something, the closest thing to that is an inflation index bond and so on. But if you created a coin that says, okay, this is buying power that I know I could save in and put my money in over a period of time, and then I can transact in anywhere, I think that would be a good coin. So I think you're going to see probably the development of coins that you haven't seen that probably will end up being attractive, viable coins. I don't think Bitcoin is it.
Wow. Let's break down exactly what he just said. And he did reference inflation index bond. He thinks something like this is a better inflation hedge versus a Bitcoin. So what is this? Well, daily inflation indexed bonds, also known as inflation-linked bonds or colloquially as linkers, are bonds or the principal is indexed to inflation or to deflation on a daily basis. They are thus designed to hedge the inflation risk of a bond. Okay, so are inflation-linked bonds worth it? Well, inflation-linked bonds do a great job at protecting against short-term inflation. They'll only outperform nominal bonds if the short-term inflation is unexpected. So, it seems to me the Ray Dalio is asking for some digital version of this, maybe like a rebase token, but linked to inflation. He's saying that he wants a new crop of digital coins that solve this problem. Crypto Twitter was a little taken back. They were a little embarrassed by these claims. Robert Breedlove, friend of the channel, we've interviewed him, said lesson for Ray Dalio's money's buying power is preserved through the integrity of its supply. Bitcoin has a perfectly integral money supply of 21 million. In the long run, Bitcoin is the perfect money for preserving buying power over time. And inflation-linked currency is nonsense. And nobody's saying that Bitcoin is a sure thing. I do think his skepticism in general very healthy. I mean, that's why he's a billionaire. He thinks of all possible outcomes. But when your goal is protecting purchasing power, he has stated in other interviews that you want to find something with a fixed or finite supply, ideally not controlled by any one entity, that you have to trust. I don't know. Am I being too sensitive? Let me know down below. Do you think Ray Dalio has a point? Do I have a point? Comment who's a little too sensitive. Comment down below.